I'm going on a trip this weekend to Munich, actually, and I thought I would choose a book to read this weekend. I have 6 hours of train ride to get there, and I think 6 hours of train ride to get back home on Sunday. So Friday and Sunday I will have lots of time just sitting around. I do have some organizational matters I need to take care of, but still I think I will have lots of time to read. On Saturday, probably not so much because I will be spending lots of time with my best friend. We are actually going to a paint and drink event. So this is where you basically have a wine tasting of 5 different wines. You're at an art gallery or atelier or whatever you want to call it, and each of us has their own painting equipment. You're supposed to wear clothes that can, get dirty, and you just have 2 hours to create whatever you want out of the materials you want to use and drink wine at the same time. So I think that sounds really fun, and I gifted it to her, and we're doing that on Saturday evening. And on Saturday, on the day, we want to go to a Victorian cafe and bar, if I'm correct. They serve cream tea, which is scones or scones, depending where you come from the UK, and clotted cream and jam. And when I first went to the UK, I didn't like scones, to be honest. But then the second or third time I went, I had fruit scones. So there were some dried fruits in the batter, and they tasted amazing. And ever since then, I fell in love. We once did an event here where we live, where there was a get-together of people from another town in the UK and my hometown who are partner cities. And we also made sandwiches. We had like afternoon tea. We made sandwiches. We tasted different kinds of black tea, and we also baked scones. And this was the first time we tried this recipe, but with the help of people who know what to do. And so I'm looking forward to testing the ones that they offer at this cafe, and I hope they are true to the British standard that I'm used to. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. But anyway, let's get choosing. I have 3 options, and I'm already pretty decided on which one I'm going to pick. Let me show you. Okay, here are my 3 options. So let me tell you something about these books. This one I actually got from a little library. It's Where the Crawdads Sing. This is very famous. I think it had a hype a few years ago, and I'm probably one of the people who hasn't read this. This is set in a more summery time, so it would fit the August vibes we're still in. And there's also a movie adaptation, so I could watch the movie once I'm finished with this. The only minus is that it's a hardback and it's quite heavy and large, and I actually don't like to travel with big books like this, so maybe I will leave it at home. The second option is actually one that my father recommended to me, and it's by a local library here in the region. It's called Was aus uns geworden ist, which means what has become of us. And it's about people who lived through the Holocaust and grew up in the GDR, so in the formerly eastern part of Germany, before Germany was reunified. So I think it is a very important but also heart-wrenching topic. So I have to have strong nerves for this. It's smaller than the first book and still a hardback, but it's not too heavy. It has like 220 pages, so I think I should be able to make it through this in one weekend, probably. And this he recommended to me because I have a challenge going on with my family, which I will be explaining in a different video. And one of the parts of the challenge is to read a book recommended by my dad, and this is the one that he chose. And then last but not least, we have the second book in the Cottage Tales of Beatrix Potter, which is a series by Susan Wittig Albert. This is set in the Lake District in the beginning of the 20th century, so 1908. This is set in July, and it's basically the reimagining of the life of Beatrix Potter in her little cottage. There's talking animals, and she somehow always gets involved into some mystery cases and murders. And yeah, this is the second one. I read the first, the third, and the fourth installment of this novel, actually. So I skipped the second one, so I have to get to this. And it's set in July, so I thought, if I don't read it now, at the end of August, then I probably won't be reading it this year, and I want to finish it. And this is also on my 25 to read in 2025. It's much smaller than the other two books, and it's also very light. But it is densely written. Yes, but it is a very different topic, because those are very serious books, and this one is a bit lighter. There's talking animals and it's more atmospheric. So if I had to make a decision now, I think I would go for this one. But at the moment, I'm actually not drawn to any of these three. I picked these because these two are set in summer or summerish, and this one I have to give back to the library at some point. That's why I put it on this list. But maybe I will have another thought about it and choose a different book, or maybe choose one on my ebook. But if I wanted to take a physical copy with me, then this would probably be the best choice. But you see, it's quite dense. I don't think I can finish it in one go. How many pages is it? Almost 300, yeah. Let's see. I have to be in a certain kind of mood to read these books, but maybe once I start, I will get into it. So sometimes that also happens. I will keep you updated. Okay, I have checked my other options, and I think I will take with me The Tale of Holly Howe. I will also take my ebook reader, so if there's a different book calling out to me, then maybe I will start that up. But I will have this option anyway and take this with me. And the others, I mean, my parents can prolong this book in the library, that's not a problem. And this one, yeah, I maybe still want to read this later in August or even in September. Or maybe next year. You know, it's not too high up on my list, but I'm interested, and I kind of like the vibe that it's giving off. Anyway, I've decided for this one, and the others I can get back to at a later point in time.
All night and leave here with a check. Otherwise, I'm sorry, we can't help you.
Good morning. It's Saturday today, and it's my first full day in Munich and my only full day as well. I'm speaking really low because everyone else in the house is still sleeping, or at least they are resting in their rooms. I think it's around 8 a.m. And I've just woken up and did some stretching. I was on the train from 8 to 1 yesterday. And afterwards I walked around the city with a really heavy backpack, or I sat at different, a restaurant or a bookstore or places like that. And yeah, I have just been in the need of a stretch and relaxation session, and that's what I just did, and it felt really good. And I'm looking forward to walking around today with a lighter backpack, because I won't have to take everything I took with me here into the city for our day trip. I am now 83 pages into The Tale of Holly Howe. I didn't get to read as much on the train yesterday as I thought I would. I actually did some work for the YouTube channel and some private organizational tasks. And there were two really interesting ladies on the train who involved me into conversation, and it was really cool to get to know them.
아니, ini situ.
But anyways, I managed to get some reading done last night before we went to bed, and also throughout the day at my different stops that I did. And so far it's been just a lot of repetition. It's the second book in the series, so she's just trying to take everyone with her into this new chapter of the story. I like it so far, but there's just lots of description, not so much dialogue, so the pages are very densely written, and I know it's only 300 pages in this edition, but it feels like for one page I am reading two of a book in a different edition probably. So yeah, it's not realistic that I will be finishing this weekend, but still I'm enjoying the fact that it's set at such a rural location and there's lots of nature description and the lakes are just so beautiful. So that's what I really enjoy, especially as a contrast to this urban setting that I'm finding myself in, which is rather stressful. Actually, there's lots of people around the main station and of course also the main shopping streets, and it was a Friday afternoon, so there were lots of people around, lots of tourists as well, bigger groups taking tours. I was also at the Marienplatz, which is where the town hall is located. I will show you the footage. There is a bookshop where you can sit at the window and look right at the main building of the plaza, which is really nice, and there were so many people there. I think at the full hour there's always this display of a clock and little figurines turning, and it's really a spectacle. Everyone goes there, and I also took some videos. There were so many people filming there. It was really crazy to see.
Ja, ist unten. Katze ist unten. Ah, okay. Ja, ist unten. Katze ist unten. Ah, okay.
Yes, and then I came here after my friend finished working, and we went into a local park and had a really good time just catching up, watching the sunset also. And I also brought some scones because I couldn't help myself. We are going to a British cafe today, which I'm so excited for. But they also had a store which was still open while I was in the, close to it, and I decided to go there and get some scones for yesterday evening. So we did cream tea at 7 p.m. So we had some black tea. But anyway, we took that to the park, and you will see in the footage there's some there's a Chinese garden, a Thai garden, as well as I think it's Burmese garden, and no, not Burmese, sorry. Okay, I just checked. It's a Chinese garden, a Thai garden, and a Nepalese pagoda. And there's also a part that is supposed to be a Japanese garden. And we just walked around and had a look at those places, and it was really nice. We also saw lots of geese and little duckies and rabbits, or, well, a smaller rabbit type. Yeah, and it was really, really fun. And we enjoyed the scones as well. We had walnut, chocolate, and plain. And then I also bought some clotted cream, and we brought some marmalade from home. So that was really good.
Mhm. Hatten wir auch.
Keine Scones mehr für euch übrig, ihr Lieben.
You will also see in one of the clips, in one of my stops at the train station, I was at a bookstore there, and they had the second book of Sanglu Mandana, which is, I'm just listening whether someone woke up. I'm not sure. Which is kind of magical innkeeping, and I was so excited. You probably can see it in the video. And I started reading it, and it's really set in October. So I'm probably going to wait for that as well, reading that book. But it was 22 euros, and that was just too much for me because it's also tiny. It's not very long. So I thought, no, not just yet. I think it was even more expensive because it was at a train station. But I decided against buying it. Maybe I will buy it at a later point this year, but I'm looking forward to reading it so much, and it's making me really excited for the end of September and October. And at the bookstore at the Marienplatz, I also found 3 books that I had never held in physical form. So that was really exciting. So I found Professor Norrell. No, wait. I always confuse the book by Susanna Clarke with the one by, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But it's not. I think it's Dr. Strange and Mr. Norrell or something. And that book is huge, and it had teeny tiny writing. But yeah, I had never had it in a physical form, so that was interesting. And then I also found Dungeon Crawler Carl, which I heard so many things about on YouTube, and everyone just gives it so much praise. And it was a really beautiful copy, and I started it and I was sucked in right away. That's the kind of book it is, right? So I thought, yeah, I will set this up on my TBR as well. I have to see when I will get to it, because it's not a very season-esque book. Maybe in winter time, I will have to see when the time's right for it. And then the last and third book I saw was by Tigris Germa. I didn't know at the time when I was filming it, but I picked the German book. So I'm wondering whether the title Immortal Dog, I think, yes. And I talked about this in a different clip. Yes, it's on my autumn TBR, that's right. And I had never seen it physically. So I started reading it, and yeah, it hooked me as well. I wanted to continue reading right away. I was really in the mood for this academic setting. So the main character is probably going to university, and there's vampires and intrigue and a missing sister. And at the beginning, I wasn't so sure about the writing, because I felt like the first chapter was beginning to feel like it was very on the nose. But then it continued on, and I was like, no, this is actually good. So yes, it kind of maintained my position for it on the TBR. And if it's spooky season, then that is probably going to be one of the picks I choose. It was really cool, and I'm looking forward to having this academia setting again. I lied. I'm not on page 38. I'm on page 83. No. Oh my god, what's wrong with me? You can say which page I'm on, right? 38. Oh my god. Aber soll ich in meinen Rucksack packen? Aua. So again, today I'm going back home and leaving Munich. It's Sunday now, and everyone is still asleep. I woke up pretty early because the roommate of my friend was unloading the dishwasher, and he left the kitchen door open, and I wake up from sounds and from light very easily, and then most of the time I don't really go back to sleep. Although we only went to bed at 1 a.m. last night, we had such a blast. Last night was really amazing. The atelier where we were, the people were so friendly. The wine tasting was so instructive, but it was so much wine. We had 5 glasses of wine, and I really underestimated the effects that can have.
Ich kann anfangen. Weißt du, woran mich das erinnert? An den Wizard of Oz.
Oder wir müssen jetzt zuhören.
We had such a blast, really. So they had 4 white wines and 1 red wine. But the thing is, after the third, I couldn't really tell them apart. The white wines I washed them down in one go, basically, because we were always too late. We hadn't finished the last wine before they started handing out the next one. So yeah, we got them down in one go most of the time, because we were so focused on our artwork. Yes, so we were very, very drunk at the end of the night, and then we stayed and talked to the people who hosted us, and it was really fun and interesting to get to know their life story, or their passion for art and wine. And then afterwards we decided to go with 2 other participants of that event to a bar and restaurant, and I had a big bowl, and we had lots of non-alcoholic drinks just to calm us down again and get home safely, which of course we did. And those people we met were really fun as well. And I don't really tend to go out like at night or to clubs and things like that. So it's seldom for me to meet people who I know I only will be spending this evening with them, and then they won't really be part of our lives anymore. They were also not from Munich, they were from someplace else, so they had to go home the same night. So we knew we would spend 2 hours, which was fun, and we talked about weddings. One of them was a wedding planner, the other is getting married, and so that was really fun and really, really cool. We talked a lot about TV shows and series, and it was just a really good time in general. That was really a wonderful, wonderful evening. My friend, of course, she always underestimates how good she is, but she's really talented as an artist, and she got so many compliments for her work. One of the people who hosted was like, do you do this more regularly? And she was like, no. And then we also had to take the paintings home with us, so we went to the subway and placed them on seats that were free, just to rest our arms. And someone came and was like, oh, that's nice, can we have a little look around? So it was like a, I don't know, like a little gallery thing. And his friend was like, I would both give them a 1, actually. So they were like rating our paintings while we were standing next to them. It was really weird and fun. And yes, I thought that 2 hours would be maybe a bit too little time. I thought that maybe I had a too ambitious goal of what I wanted to do, but it worked out perfectly. We had the perfect amount of time. Yes, it was really fun. I can only recommend. I think even without the wine, it would have been amazing. Just to, let your imagination run wild and just do something that's fun without having to think about it too much. And that's really, really good sometimes, It was really, really nice. But actually, the beginning and middle of our day yesterday was amazing as well. In hindsight, we did so many interesting things without having planned for them. So we just walked through the city. We had a few things in mind. So we went to the English Garden first, where then we came across a lake where you could do some, what's that called? Where you paddle in a boat, but with your legs, like riding a bike, which then makes the boat move. And we did that for half an hour, and it was so much fun and really, really nice and relaxing as well. And then we walked around some more. Then we went into a more in an area where there were more boutiques and little shops, so we had a look around there, and some antique stores as well, but only for a little while because we wanted to go to the Victorian house, which I told you about yesterday. They have a bar and restaurant and like a tea room, I think. And we went to the tea room. I had got us scones yesterday, which was a good thing because it was less expensive to buy scones at the shop and some clotted cream and eat them with the marmalade here from home than to go into the cafe and have the scones. That would have been really expensive. But they had one of my favorite cakes, which is a red velvet cake, which I can only ever eat in Great Britain because in Germany there's not really a bakery who does that kind of cake, and they had it on. So of course I ordered it. I almost couldn't finish it because we also ate bagels, and they were really good too, and it was so much food. But we managed. We spent, I think, at least 3 hours there until closing time. We also just continued reading our books and talked a bit about them. We had a bit of trouble with some wasps, but that was okay. We sat outside first, and then we went inside later on. I have some footage of the rooms, but I didn't want to film too much because there were so many people. It was really packed. But I can recommend it if you're ever in Munich and looking for a nice British tea time. I think that's the place to go.
Ja. Dieses mit den Frauen.
And then afterwards, we still had some time. We left there at 5 and the event started at 7. And we saw that there was a park next to the event location. So we thought we'd just could, hang out there. We were also a bit tired, so we were looking for a place to just lie down and close our eyes a bit. And then we realized when we got there that it was actually a graveyard. And an historic one at that. So there hadn't been any newer graves added for, I don't know, at least 100 years. So it was really cool to walk around. It was a mix of public park and a graveyard, because you were allowed to jog, but you couldn't bring your dog. You were allowed to sit on the grass, because the graves were widely spaced out, so there was much space between them or behind them. In the middle there were no graves at all. If you have, like a quadrant, all of the graves were on the outside, and then on the inside there was just free space basically. And that's what we did. We put our stuff there and lied down, and before we walked a little around and had a look at the different graves.
Ah, yes, I forgot to tell you. You know how I'm reading a fictional perspective on the life of Beatrix Potter, right? The Cottage Tales of Beatrix Potter. And we went to an Oxfam shop yesterday. And look what I found. One of the little books, and I've never owned one. We didn't read these at home when I was a child. So I only came into contact with the work of Beatrix Potter through these books, actually. And we visited near and far Surrey, I think 1 or 2 years ago. So I know a little bit about this. So this is in English, and it's a version from 2002, and it's teeny tiny, and I was so glad I found it in the children's book section. And of course I had to take it with me, and now I don't think I will collect all of them, but this was just, I couldn't not buy this, because I mean, how could I not? It's just a nod of respect to the author. That's what it is. It's a week later now, and I finally finished the 4th book in the series by Susan Wittig Albert, which centers around Beatrix Potter and her adventures in the Lake District. I went to Munich last weekend, and as I told you, we had a brilliant time. I'm really glad that I chose this kind of event to give to my friend. It's a big recommendation. If you ever are looking for a very special event, maybe look if there's something like this in your region as well. Drink and paint, or I think there's also paint and party where you would just listen to music. So there are also events that don't involve alcohol, I'm sure. And it's really nice to just have access to all of the supplies you need, and have also some person to help you along if you need some guidance or counseling, and then just do it for the fun of it, and just let your creation and your creativity run free. So, and then also of course in the company of your loved ones. That was really amazing. But on with the review. I really enjoyed reading this book. I think I noticed that this is a book, or maybe the whole series, it's the best if you read it outside. That's when you can enjoy this the most, I think. And I can also really recommend this series because the books are set in different months, so you can read them whenever this month is has come around for you in your time. So it's a big recommendation. I know it's not very well known probably to readers nowadays. It's also a bit an older series, but I'm really looking forward to continuing with the 5th book now. I lied. This is not the fourth one. This is the second in the series. Yes, I told you before that I'm kind of doing a bad job at keeping in order or reading them in order. But now I'm back in order now that I finished the second one, and I can continue with number 5. And I think it goes up to 8 or 9. So there are not that many left. But I'm in no rush, and I'm enjoying having this series in my life and continuing it step by step whenever I really feel like I want to go back into this world of talking animals and farm life in rural England. Very cozy, but also a bit of a mystery in each book, so it really hits the sweet spot for me. Oh, and the writing is also very good. Susan Wittig Albert, I know she has lots of other series as well, and I really enjoy her writing. It's very lush, and she can masterfully describe the change in nature and scenery. And I also really enjoy the characters she crafts, especially the women characters. I think they are really, really interesting characters. So a big recommendation. And I'm going to close out my vlog for now. And I hope you enjoyed my little trip to Munich and all the bookish and very somehow British adventures we went on. Yeah, and I will see you in the next one. See you guys.